Hey everybody, Sammy Thunder here. Welcome to another Vintage Chill and Chat. I believe there's a vacuum cleaner going on in the other room in my apartment, so forgive me if you hear that. Um, so it we'll see. I don't know if it comes through the microphone or not. The microphone's pretty sensitive, but we're gonna start that way. Good evening. Hope everybody's having a good rest of their weekend, and as they say in office space, we're all going to have a case of the Mondays. So look forward to that. Yeah, man, I've been kind of taking a little bit of a breather on the videos as of late, but the card show videos continue. So that's something that I've been continuing to spearhead, and it's been I will say, getting back into setting up at shows as a small local dealer has been a lot of fun, and the process has been rewarding. At the same time, it's also kind of there's also a lot of challenges that come with it. So um, I completely not. I'm trying to find the right word. Envy is not the right word because envy implies, yeah, but I think the word I'm looking for dealers, like Lenny's here. I see Lenny's in the chat, and Lenny's a full-time dealer, and he's been doing this for quite some time, and dealers have to find inventory. It takes a lot of time to go through and to find stuff for shows, and it's a handful, man. It's a lot of time and dedication. So I really tip my hat to a lot of these guys that are big time dealers that do this for a living, and uh, it's a lot of time. So when it comes to going to a show and wanting to get a deal done and trying to find the card that you really really want, and listen, I think there's a fine line between a dealer pricing their cards accurate or as accurately as they can, and buyers, collectors coming to the table and not throwing low balls, not throwing low ball offers that are just completely out of the realm of possibilities. And I think for the most part, it's we most people, I would say, are very fair, at least from my standpoint. When I'm setting up at shows, I haven't really encountered too many people that throw outlandish offers. I've had a few maybe, but nothing too crazy. And the moments when I do, you just handle those situations with grace, and just it's just be respectful. I'm always respectful, and just say, hey, can't do that. I can't get to that price. And for the most part, that's kind of just where the conversation ends, and just move on. But again, I will say, for all the dealers that do set up full time, uh, that are always just constantly in that loop, in that cycle of needing to find more inventory, needing to go out there, needing to find stuff for the next show. It's a grind. It is a grind, and a lot of these guys have worked tirelessly over the many years and have built up a strong reputation, built up a following, and have built up repeated customers of both collectors buying their stuff and also selling their collections, because they've gotten to know these dealers so well over the years that they say, you know what, I have a lot of cards, I'm ready to move. I know the perfect person to do that with. And I can imagine. I mean, I've never sat down with Lenny. I never sat down and asked him. I never sat down and asked, like what his process looks like, or, what, just, you know, like what. Sorry, I'm just kind of reading the chat, so it's a little distracting. But yeah, when it comes to Lenny, I mean, this is a thing where I'd love to talk to Lenny about. But like Lenny, I know Lenny very well, and I've gotten to know him as a dealer, and he's one of the kindest people that I've come across at shows. And Lenny will tell me, he like, if we don't get to a price, I know Lenny's going to be fully respectful, and um, just that'll be it. So. But for the most part, I mean, every single time that I've bought a card from Lenny, it's always been very smooth and straight and simple and easy. Uh, but yeah, hearing the process, hearing what happens Monday through Friday to because the shows are obviously Saturday and Sundays. So there's we think that these guys have endless inventories, but reality sets in that Monday through Friday these guys are driving around. They're spending time. They're making the phone calls. They're getting the phone calls, and over time they build their reputation. I imagine for someone like Lenny, that's kind of kindness goes a long way. And if you're a kind person and uh, you could see things through the collector's perspective. Like collections can be very difficult to let go of. And so I can imagine that in those moments, those sort of things have to be handled very delicately. And so that's not something that is established overnight. That's something that um, you learn as you go through. For me personally, I'm not even close to that stage yet. No one's knocking on my door saying, "Hey, I have a collection. I'm ready to move." Um, and quite honestly, I probably couldn't afford an entire collection. I'm just as someone who does this for to kind of put money aside for my own collection purchases. For I do this to because I enjoy it for one, but for me, like my process is very straightforward. Generally, I'll be buying a lot at the show itself. I have some dealers that I've gotten to know on the local side that I will go to because they have really good stuff and they price it really nicely, very fairly, and I enjoy and and it's kind of like a back and forth. Like they'll buy from me, I'll buy from them, and it's a good working relationship that way. Um, so and then there's also like card shops that I love going to and visiting, and yeah, I mean, for me, that's my process, and that's what's been working so far. And for somebody that I was going to dedicate a video to this because I've done a video talking about being a dealer, but like, listen, I'm just from a perspective of somebody that is setting up at shows, um, with the goal of building up hobby dollars to buy something special. Um, I can give you that perspective. I can't give you the day-to-day operations. I can't give you, I can't give you what a full-time dealer looks like, but I can at least give you kind of like the process that I take for, how I build an inventory and what kind of shows I set up at and so forth. But before I kind of dive into that, I will do a roll call because I could see some craziness going on. Jacob, good to have you here, man. Good to see you. Andy, thank you so much. Good evening. Andrew, good to have you here, buddy. Good to have you back as always. Dave, Peacemaker Cards, what's up? Mike from Jayhawker. Phil Necro Fan 35. What's up? What's up? Craig is here. Lenny is here. Ruben is here. Cardboard Coach Neil, what's up? Mr. Berger, good to have you here. Carl, good. I'm glad that you're back home. Independent Treasures did a couple awesome, very nice. Clean carpets are a must, yes, for sure. Dan, what's up, buddy? I know we talked earlier. Happy Sunday to you as well, Mr. Wilhelm. Good evening. And Lenny saying lots of work, for sure. A lot of work. Bowman 53, Alex, good evening, Card Borders. Alex will be live at 8 o'clock. Card Room Live. I'm not sure what episode he's on, but yeah, check it out, 8 p.m. and then for collectors at 9 p.m. No Zadies tonight, but I anticipate coming back Thursday. I'm going to do my best. Hopefully work does not kick my ass, but if it does, then we'll see. Jason, what's up, man? Good to have you here. One of the known dealers at Strongsville scoffed at my offer for a Cracker Jack. It's okay, just move on. Yeah, that's the best thing to do. If there are dealers that scoff at you, then, I mean, I don't know. That's a whole other topic, but I won't jump into that. Hey, Dan, good evening, sir. Jason, did Sandy take back your four collector's hat? I feel as though that even though I decided to leave for collectors, I get to keep. I'm kind of classified as an alumni, I think, at this point. So I will gladfully still wear the hat. Yeah, we could try. Yeah, we could definitely work that out. Lenny, got to figure out the time frame and such. So don't read the chat, Sammy. I'm trying not to. I hope it seems like it's going okay. Jay, what's up, man? Good to have you here. Um, as a dealer or as a buyer, don't take it personally when offers or prices aren't lining up. And I don't think you should. It can be nerve-wracking, but it's not something you want. It's not, there's no need to let it get personal. Lenny says building relationships is great and it does take time. Yeah. It's a slow and patient process. And patience is the key thing, I think, from that. Long live the weekend warrior dealers. Yes. I was just doing a start. I was just going to start a series of vids calling dealing, collecting, investing. That'd be cool, for sure. Brian, good to have you here, friend. Steve with the PH and Mr. eBay, good to have you here, sir. Yeah, man. For me personally now, like since getting back into this, my whole thing is to try to space out the amount of shows that I do. For a time when I was setting up, I was doing a show like every single weekend. And honestly, it was just it was a little too overwhelming. My inventory was getting depleted, and having to replenish every single week was tiring and exhausting. So again, my hats off to dealers that do this, but I'm going to be doing it every other weekend. So I kind of have a rotation, which is kind of nice. But I'm thinking the Fishkill show is the first Saturday of every month, and then Garfield has 2 shows on Sundays, depending on how it lines up. It could be a single weekend where I do 2 shows and then that's it for the month, or it can be a Saturday one week and then 2 weeks later it could be a Sunday or what have you. So Garfield, that's a Fishkill, and then the Milford show is the one I do up in Connecticut. The reason why it's so kind of like spread apart is it's because of the fact that like where I sit in New York City, it kind of takes an hour to kind of get into any of these shows. It'd be phenomenal if there were shows in New York City, but the landscape doesn't really doesn't provide those opportunities. We did the Bleecker Trading trade night, which I anticipate reaching out to them again to try to organize something. I think it was a big success the first time around, but I think it can be even a bigger success the next time. Just have to get the wheels turning on that. But there's no shows in New York City outside of like the Brooklyn show, which you have to kind of go pretty far into it. But that's a show I'm going to be doing next month on June 6th, which I'm looking forward to that. I think Dan from Dan's Vintage Baseball PC and Brian from Card Soup and a number of other people that I'm familiar with are going to be setting up at that show. That one has really taken off. Big Slab Daddies, I think, is the name of the shop in Brooklyn, and they co-host the show with this promoter named Chris, who is also very much involved. And I've done that show a number of times. It's a really excellent show to check out. If you're in Brooklyn, that show is growing, and it's really growing by leaps and bounds. We couldn't be there for the last one, Brian, Dan, and myself, because obviously we're all at Strongsville, and they were doing the show in Strongsville that weekend. But through the grapevine, we heard that Brooklyn show was just like lights out. And I can say, at least from my standpoint, the vintage there does move really well. I think generally you just get a nice crowd of both vintage and modern. I can't really recall the TCG. I know it was represented, but I think the sports stuff really kind of overshadows it, which for me personally, I don't mind. I'm not a TCG guy, and I don't really get into any of that stuff. Never did when I was younger, but it's for me personally. I kind of like the fact that sports is well represented, all sports card stuff. So, but yeah, so the next show is going to be Mount Kisco, which is in 2 weeks. That's a good show because they finally moved to a new location that, let's be honest, is far better suited for it. The original location had a lighting issue; it just wasn't good, wasn't very good lighting. and you'd have to navigate the show, and there's just a lot of people using their phones to their flashlight to see certain cards, and it becomes very critical, especially if you're a vintage guy. If you're buying vintage in a low lit room, I mean, that's just asking for trouble because you really have to scour it, especially if it's raw stuff or even graded. You'll pick up a card, it'll appear to look great. And I know we've all been in this. I guarantee or feel very strongly that a lot of us have been in that situation where we bought a card that we didn't think had a wrinkle, didn't have the crease, and we take it home and we look at it and we're like, oh crap, there it is. I've been there countless times. I think I feel like every collector has kind of gone down that road before, so I don't think it's anything new. But yeah, to suffice to say, this is their second show where they're setting up in a different location, the Mount Kiskia show, and it looks like it had a lot of good feedback for the first one, and so I'll be setting up at the second one. And for those that didn't see the video yet, I'll show the inventory that I just picked up. Figured we'll do it during the live. I picked this Rocky Calavito. The thing about the Rocky Calavito that's nice is that I generally find this card not to have good centering a lot of the times, and so to find this one with good centering, I picked it up early in the show at Fishkill yesterday. I looked at it, and then I saw that it kind of had a pen mark on the, or I can't tell if it's pen or pencil, but nevertheless, it has a mark on the back, and I was reluctant to pick it up, but then I kind of took a circle back later in the show to see if it was still there, and it was. And I bought it for the centering, because I think, it's a great looking card of his. Obviously, it's the first year card, and decided to for the first card. So I decided to go after that and put towards that. So, this guy Chris who sets up at Fishkill has a lot of great centered 65s in his box. He had like a bargain box of vintage, and he had some of it was priced, some of it wasn't. And so, but I mean, he was very easy to work with. And Chris, I've bundled a bunch of cards for him before, and he's great with having a lot of raw cards, and he has so much inventory. But this is a good looking Cepeda from the 65 set. 76 Seaver that I thought really shined through with the centering, and the corners look great. And low grade Mickey Mantle. You would, just from the initial impression, you wouldn't think that this card had any issues just from looking at it. But as you get closer, you start noticing the problems. There you got the wrinkles shining through and creases going across the card, soft corners, little wrinkles on the corner there. But otherwise, if you're like building a set or something like that, or you just want a low grade mantle that presents well, I think that's a nice card to pick up. That one came from a dealer named Paul Vogel, who I've gotten to know through setting up at shows in Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey. Really nice guy. He's pretty quiet, kind of keeps to himself, but and I think he watches my channel. I'm not 100% sure. I can't really recall if he watches or not. But again, very nice, and very easy to work with when it comes to buying stuff. And I'm pretty certain he's bought stuff off of me before. And sometimes we'll have conversations. He'll ask me like what I think a certain card is worth or something like that. And just kind of I'm not really sure what his backstory is. I don't think he does it full time, but I'm not 100% sure on that. This also was from Paul. It was a low grade 70 Maze, and for the same reason, I kind of figured, I got this bundled with the mantle, and I got a good price on it. And I think, I try to, cater. I want to cater to collectors that are not so, they're not looking for the perfectly centered card or the perfectly wrinkled the crease free card, because I think there are some collectors that come to my table that do that like buying kind of lower grade stuff. I thought this one, the 62, Had this Cepeda looked really good though. So I picked up this Cepeda. Kind of tough to get these in, to get these in good shape because the corners will really show. Kind of like the 72s, the 71s. The 71s show far more. Here's a 61 Gil Hodges I thought had good centering to it. Top to bottom is not the greatest, but left to right I thought was pretty good. Another here's a 66 of Drysdale, kind of the same boat. Pretty decent centering all around. So here's the back. Chris also had some really good, like he had the 69 Kilobrew that just looks awesome. Really nice, sharp Kilobrew. Chris had some good cards, man. Really good cards at Fishkill. Here's another Don Drysdale. The 1960 cards, I really like the 1960 cards. When they present super well, they just look great, man. And Drysdale's not the biggest name in the set, obviously, but it's just I just like the way they present the way that they present in the display case. It's just that's important. Now, if you guys want to talk about oversight, I mean, again, like I said before, sometimes it happens where you buy a card you think doesn't have a wrinkle, doesn't have any sort of defect, and then you take it back. You're like, oh, I totally overlooked it. This is a case where I sort of overlooked it. Another 62, and I would love to see if anybody can point out what the defect is. Let's have some fun with this one. But I picked up this Whitey Ford off of Chris. It was part of the bundle, and I'm not beating myself up over this because I still think it's a great card. But there is a little defect on this, and I think once you get a closer look at it, you can see what that might be. So, but nevertheless, good corners, nice presentation on this one. This one was kind of like one of the key cards in the lot pickup. This is a really nice looking Thurman Munson. Good call. Lenny got it. Paper lost by the hat. That's exactly what it was, and it can be easy to overlook because it's at first I thought it was like a wax on it or something like that, but it turned out to be lost, kind of blended in. So that's why. But here's the big card from that. Was the Munson. This is a really nice looking Munson. Tough to find these with halfway decent centering, but I thought this one really was just well represented. Arguably his best card. Here's the Joe Morgan rookie I picked up from the 65. This one's got a little bit of markings on the top there, right above the 65 rookie stars part, but I thought it looked good. Surprisingly, this one was, I thought this one would be a little bit more. This one was like $5, but I mean, it was part of the bundle, so I think I got it for a little bit less. But, obviously it has the print marks to it that kind of distract you a little bit, but yeah, the card looks sharp, man. Super sharp. Here we got the 73 Nolan Ryan. I thought this card, the last time I bought a Nolan Ryan off of Chris, it sold pretty quickly. And so I saw that he had another one, and this one was the best one of the group. He had like 4 or 5 of them, and this one was the best. So there's that one. Kind of a lower grade bench from the 73, but no creases or wrinkles, just some soft corner action. And a great shot of him. I think people admire the action sequence of him. Here we got a 76 bench. Nice looking, well centered. People like to say this one is their favorite cards. I've heard that a lot from people. The 69 kind of is up there too. 76 Munson. I thought this looked really good. I think a lot of the 76s he had were really, really good between the Seaver, the bench, the Munson. Here we have a Carlton Fisk rookie from the 72. And the last two raw cards, nice looking 71 bench, pretty decent. And finally the 76 Ryan. And that makes up all the raw cards that are going to be at the Mount Kisco show. I'm getting them ready. Have to get them priced, and they'll be available at the Mount Kisco show coming up in 2 weeks. The graded cards, I only picked up two. Surprisingly, I didn't sell that. I only sold two graded cards at Fishkill, so I think it's two. It might be three, but that leaves me now with two spots to fill. So I picked up two more graded cards. One was this 1950 Bowman of Gil Hodges, graded a 5. I think it was kind of generously graded, if you want my honest opinion. It's probably not. It might be like more of a 4 than anything, but I don't know. Registration was really nice on it. The color is super nice on it. No real wrinkles or creases, so I was kind of happy with that. I was really happy with this purchase. The 61 Maze with really, really good centering. It just has that one little wrinkle on the top right side there. But otherwise, the card is presented super nice. I'm just kind of I was just enamored by this throughout the show. And I was seeing that Mike Bokar, the guy who runs the Fishkill show, Mike Bokar had this in his case. And I was super enamored by it. I kind of thought, man, that's a premium too, if you want my honest opinion on that. So that kind of makes up, the graded stuff and the raw stuff, and there you have it. So sorry, I know I'm not. Let's see what the chat says. Is that a Munson card, a Hall of Fame card? It should be. I want to say it is in. I don't know. I think it's. I can't remember if it's on this ballot or if it has been voted in. I think it is. And Andrew confirms it. It's in. So all Ryan cards are going up, especially the 69 Ryan, which I think I love that card. The 69 Ryan card, anytime I have it in my inventory. I bought it, I would have it for my inventory for a week and then it's gone the next week. So you're absolutely right, Orlando. Or Nolan Ryan cards are just so incredibly popular. Is it because he's running for office? I didn't realize he is running for office. Is he running for something in Texas? Thank you, Mike. Yeah, some really good ungraded copies. And Chris, like I said, he was mentioning to me that he's getting some more vintage in, which is music to my ears, as well as Mike. Mike said he had a whole box that he still has to go through, which is awesome. Looks like Lou Piniella. You guys be the judge. I guess sort of. So the Hodges. Thank you, Lenny. Yeah, I think they look great. I think that Maze is going to go fast. I don't know about the Hodges. I think the Hodges might sit for a little bit, but the Maze, I think, is going to go quickly. I just have a feeling. That'd be awesome, Dan. Yeah, man. I'm always looking. For me personally, it's always about the kind of lower grade stuff that if I can find lower grades that has good centering to it, that's kind of my bread and butter. It just depends on the year. That maze is a perfect example of what I try to find for inventory. I can't afford, 7s, 8s, or 9, even 6s in some years. So, for me, it's all about finding 2s and 3s that have good centering to it. I'm cool with with certain condition issues on certain cards. I had a good example. I had a 69 Topps Willie Mays in a 4. But it had really good centering. It had some soft corners, but it had really, really good centering. And I bought it, and I think I had it in my inventory for about a couple of shows, and then there you go, it just went. Yeah, heck, great inventory. I need to add to. Yeah, so man, Jason. Oh man, should we talk? I guess should I mention this, Jason? Should I show it on camera? I can show it, I guess, but I'll let you be the judge on that one. If you want me to show the pickups that I made for you and the foolish errors that I made in doing so, happy to bring it up, but I can also do it on Cardboard and Cold Ones on Thursday if you want. More Ryan, yeah, for sure. Nolan announced he's considering running for office at the state level. Gotcha. Okay. Uh, Zelle or Venmo is fine, Jason. We'll talk after the. We'll talk. We'll text afterwards. Hey, Adam. Good to have you here. Hoping you're having a chipper day as well, my friend. Uh, don't stress. Okay. So this might. I don't know if this is gonna squash my credibility, but I don't like. I don't think it will. This is just. So let's start with the story first. Okay. So there's a guy named Arnie who sets up at the Fish Kill show. He sets up there, has a lot of great stuff. He has just binders of so much random stuff. Pre-war stuff out the nose. He has memorabilia, signed baseballs, and he has what Jason absolutely loves, which is oversized Goudy premiums and Butterfingers, and you guys know how Jason feels about that. Amazingly, Jason put in a request asking me, "Hey, if that guy Arnie's setting up, can you check to see if he has these two things?" And amazingly, Arnie still has these two items. I figured that these things would be gone because it just would be gone, and that because he was selling stuff nonstop, both at yesterday's show and last month. So I go over his table and I ask Jason and I text Jason. I'm saying which ones are you looking for, and he tells me both. And so amazingly, they're both still there. So Arnie has them both priced at $25 a piece, both items, which I'll show you in a second. And I asked Arnie, I'm like, hey, my buddy wants these two. Is there like your best price you can have on them? And he said he would do $40 for the pair. And I said that sounds good. So I pay Arnie the $40 in advance, and I get both items. I take a picture and I send it to Jason. Sounds like a happy ending. However, one of the items I took out and I tried to transfer over to a giant top loader. I was trying to be as careful as I can be, and in doing so in the transfer, part of the card had a tear in it. It teared up a little bit, and I felt so awful. It's never happened. I called Jason immediately and I told him what happened. I said, "Hey, I'm really, really sorry. I was trying to put this in a better card protector because it was in a loose sleeve binder. It was in a binder sleeve." And it teared up, and I sent him a picture and I said, "Listen, don't send me any money for this piece. Just send me money for the other piece." So let me show you. It was the Butterfingers of Paul Wayner. And you can see the tear is right here. It tears down from the top. And this is due to my negligence of trying to carefully put this in to a top loader to protect it, because I need to find a way to package this for Chicago when we go to the National, because I need to give this to Jason. And I felt so terrible, felt so stupid. It tore up a little bit. And Jason, being who he is, one of the coolest people that I know, one of the closest friends that I have in this hobby, he said, "Don't worry about it. Not a big deal. I'm still super excited, and I'm still going to pay you," which we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about that because I'm still feeling like, I will. I will not ask you for the money for the Paul Wayner. However, there is some upside. There is upside on this. The Geringer is safe. And I was able to put this into a top loader. The Geringer is safe. The pinholes were there before. And the Geringer is safe. The Wayner, I have it back in the original sleeve that it came in, that Arnie had this in, and this will probably stay. It will stay in here. When it comes time to packaging it for Chicago, I will do what I can to package it properly so that nothing else happens to it. Jason, again, thank you so much for being so gracious. I still feel awful about it, but I think I'd be on the floor crying if it was like $1,000 or so, like even like 200, 100 or $200. I'd be on the floor like, oh, I can't believe this. But I guess, uh, like I said, I know you said that you're still going to pay for the Paul Wainer, but I'm asking you to not worry about it. Consider it a gift. Think of it like that. So worth more than $25 with 5 rips. There you go. There you go. Let me go back to the chat here. Man, you can pay me in Goose Island beer. Nice. Andy says, short update for you, Sammy. I sent that Kellogg Seaver I bought from me out for grading. We'll keep you posted when it comes back. Decided to start collecting that set. Oh, sweet, man. I hope it comes back a nice grade for you. I think it was a pretty nice looking card, though, if I remember correctly. Oversized, yes, that is very true. I do worry too much. That is for sure. Sammy buying the first rounds of drinks for Jason at the National. I suggested lunch, but that works too. I just gasped at that Paul Wainer. I know. Dan, I feel like Dan his heart dropped down to his stomach just by seeing that. I'm good with it. The price was crazy good. I had to mention it, right? I had to mention it. 1 of 1 Thunder puzzle piece Butterfinger. So there you have it. Have you seen some of my other Butterfingers? That is mint compared to some of my others for sure, but it would have been better if it didn't have the rip. You know what I mean? And agreed. And of course, I knew it. Yeah, Jason, I am paying you with capital letters. I can't get out of this. So that is it. Find me I'm not touching a Garrick Butterfinger. If I find it, I swear, if I find it, I'll take a picture, and that'll be it. I'm gonna have to package it in cardboard or something like that if I ever did find one, because I know those are crazy expensive. But all in all, everything looks good. So, oh man. So we're at 38 minutes. 38 minutes of me blabbering on. Yeah, great deals. Pre-war Hall of Famers for the win. Yeah, that guy Arnie had some great stuff. Great stuff. Just got in. Did I hear Sammy's buying beer at the National? Thanks, buddy. I guess I am buying beer. And definitely owe you a beer, Rick, for sure. What's up, Ray? Good to have you here, man. I guess that's why Bart Simpson said nobody lay, but that's awesome. Oh, Ruben, that's awesome. Yes. Yeah, that's awesome. Mike, what's up, man? Good to have you here. So I shared the video. Let me see if I can pull this video up because this is sick, man. Like, hold on a second. I think this is the this will be the video that. Let me see. There it goes. Hold on a sec. Let's see, video file. I'm going to bring up a video that I think is awesome, and probably most of you guys have seen this already, so just bear with me for a sec. Okay, so I'll start here. I think it's cool if I share this, because I've already shared this on my video, and Mike is Bokar Card 69, as you guys can see, and Mike also runs the Fish Kill Show, and he's been working with a collector who's nicknamed Sunshine. And I've actually bought a couple of cards from that consignment. I'll share one right now before I share the video. This is Sunshine's card that he had for, I think he said he bought this in the 80s, the T205 Mathewson that you guys, I've shown this a number of times already. But I bought this from the consignment that Mike and Sunshine have partnered on. And this was one of the cards. There's another one. Just need to find it. I thought I had it out, and I think I do. Just here it is. The T201 Mathewson also came from the same consignment. just for reference, just so we're clear. So good cards. I mean, great, fantastic cards. They were all sent for grading, and now at the last show, I know that Sunshine was super excited to bring this, and I'll share this with you guys now because I think it's super awesome. It is the 1962 Bazooka complete boxes and panels, and we dedicated a video on this at the show yesterday, just going through one by one. You see like Bob Clemente, Al Kaline, Roberto Clemente, and Kaline Maris, like, and we started trying to see like what do these go for when they're graded. And the last time the mantle sold was in 2019 in a 4 for like almost $7,000. And to me, it's remarkable. Like, everybody well represented here. And so seeing this in person was a true delight. And I think the plan is that they're going to submit these for grading. And my guess is to hopefully have them by the National, because it sounds like, let me bring myself back here. It sounds like, yeah, Mike has a table at the National this year, which is awesome. Super exciting. But that was like a real treat, a real highlight to see those up close. So let me catch up on the rest of the chat here. I'm doing the hotel party again, by the way. Awesome. It sounds like you have if you're going to have that penthouse suite like you did last time. Hey, Mook. Arnie has such fun stuff. Yeah, Arnie has a lot of stories. Loves talking about about his car, about the history of different sports, and just great stories overall. Oh, that's crazy. I thought it was his nickname. I didn't realize that was his last name. So Sunshine is his last name. Oh, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, Dan, the Bazooka collection was awesome. That mantle full box is insane. Keith, man, you missed out on some huge cards, man. And I don't know, is Mike, I don't you can answer this in the chat, but the Munson stuff, what is this? I don't know if Keith has it. I guess this is a conversation. I don't know if what his plans are with the Munson stuff, but that was some awesome stuff. And I'm sure Keith would love that mantle Bazooka box for sure. Oh man. Yeah, Mook. Mike packs so much good stuff into that Rim Fishkill. Another super fun show. Yeah, for sure. Stunning bazookas. Yeah. Yes, we'll all be graded and ready for the National. So that's the preparation. That is the plan. That is the plan. So we have Munson from when he died on newspapers, and we had a wiffle ball with Munson and the wiffle ball in it, and the case that it came with. So yeah, okay. Not surprised you received the text message to let you know. Sunshine wants to show Keith the months and stuff. We sent pictures yesterday. Awesome. Yeah, I know that's Keith is huge Munson guy. No boxes with the gum. I don't, not to my knowledge. I don't know. The story goes that Sunshine purchased that lot back in the '80s, all at once. So pretty amazing. Aparicio yeah, caught your eye. Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like that they're going to be at the National, so that's going to be pretty awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they come back as grade-wise. So that's going to be really exciting. But all right, guys, I figure we'll finish on that note. I don't think there's really anything else that I wanted to share, other than we have another long week to get through, and next weekend I won't be setting up next weekend, but I will probably attend a show somewhere. I'll go to a show. I have to look and see what the schedule looks like. But we have a lot of shows lined up. Mount Kisco the week after, and then the end of the month is the White Plains show at the county center. So I'm going to be hopefully attending that one on a Saturday. But anyway, Card Room Live, guys, 8 p.m. That's about less than 15 minutes. Bowman 53, that's Alex. He'll be hosting Card Room Live. And then For Collectors at 9 p.m. I don't know who's hosting that, but somebody's going to be doing that one. So that is it, you guys. I appreciate you guys watching as always. And I will try to make a video sometime this week if I can, but if not, I will hopefully see you guys Cardboard and Cold Ones on Thursday, as long as work does not kick my ass. So have a great rest of your night, everybody. Thank you so much for jumping on. I appreciate it. Take care.